Welcome back to 2 Cents, We See Scary Movies. This month's theme is Not Just Another Halloween Movie, a celebration of every Halloween horror flick that doesn't involve a certain Shatner-masked babysitter enthusiast. I'm Talon, fueled by caffeine, bad decisions, and the belief that Halloween decorations should stay up year-round, and my co-host Dan, a man who would absolutely survive a demonic possession because even evil spirits can't tolerate his sarcasm for more than 5 minutes. Now, before we dive in, we're doing something a little different this week. Normally, we go scene by scene through every scream, stab, and questionable life choice these characters make. But today, we're changing it up. We're breaking the movie into 3 parts, beginning, middle, and end, and talking about what really stands out, what makes us laugh, and what just doesn't make sense. If you like this new format, let us know, because if it works, we're keeping it. This week, we're taking on Night of the Demons from 1988, a cult classic that proves Halloween parties are just funerals with cheaper decorations. It's got demons, bad dancing, and more butt shots than a late-night Skinamax lineup. So light your jack-o'-lanterns, hide your lipstick, and let's head to Hull House because this party's about to get possessed. Let's get into it. All right, part 1, Trick or Terror. Halloween night kicks off with a lineup of delightfully terrible people. Judy, our sweet but naive final girl, is prepping for her date with Jay, while her bratty little brother cracks jokes about her arrests because, hey, it's 1988. Meanwhile, Angela and Suzanne are busy shoplifting at a convenience store, while Suzanne bends over long enough to make the 2 desk clerks forget their own names. Angela steals snacks, Suzanne steals the scene. Elsewhere, Stooge, Helen, and Roger are driving around being loud, crude, and painfully 80s. Stooge moons an old man who mutters that they'll get what they deserve, and we'll find out later he means that, literally. Eventually, everyone ends up at the infamous Hull House, an abandoned mortuary with a reputation for murder and evil spirits. Angela suggests a séance in front of a mirror because that's obviously the move at a haunted funeral home. The mirror cracks, something escapes, and Suzanne gets possessed first. Angela starts following close behind, and the party takes a sharp left into supernatural chaos. So Dan, first thing I want to talk about are those amazingly wonderful opening credits.
The 4 minutes of
Yes!
80s animation.
I was like, oh my God. Because, a lot of times if you have opening credits, they at least play over the movie to some extent. So you can see what's going on in the movie while these words are there. This was not like that. This was literally 3.5 minutes of nothing but credits and animation. They were like flying around ghosts, and they were 2D skeletons. It was
Like, it would have worked if it was, like, on a children's sort of movie. Like, if
yes.
it was, like, opening to, like, a children's
Right.
Halloween movie, because it was just, like, a weird pumpkin that was, like,
Yeah.
wrapped around the moon, and then it dissolved away from the moon, and
Yeah.
it was just really odd.
It was like it was trying to dare you to quit watching before it even began.
If it wasn't for the podcast, I probably would've.
And at first I was like, "All right, okay." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, how long is this gonna go on?" I was like, "Oh my God, is it ever gonna end?" And then I fast forwarded it to see if there was actually a movie attached to this.
Just 2 hours of just animation and credits.
I was like, "This is the longest opening credits I've ever seen." Could you imagine sitting in a movie theater watching that for 3 fucking minutes? 3.5 minutes. I was like,
No, I mean, and I've recently come to find out that I have ADD, and so I'm just sitting there playing on my phone waiting for the credits to get
right.
friggin' done.
No kidding. I was like, "Good Lord." But yeah, the credits were ridiculous. I was like, "Oh my God, this is perfect. This is gonna be the setup for some bullshit." No. Anyway, another thing I'd like to talk about is the obligatory 80s nudity. So
Yeah, well, it was really, really, really creepy when she goes up to her closet. I mean, this is
yeah.
after she takes off her shirt. I mean, she still has a bra on, so I mean, you can
Mhm.
see through the bra, but it's
Yeah.
not
It
like
was lacy.
skin.
Right.
And she goes up to her closet, and her little brother pops out with a scary mask, and he starts talking about her boobs. It's like, dude,
I know.
it's like the 80s was full of like rapey, pedophilic, incestuous jokes. I'm like, where, like, how did I get through this shit?
How did maybe that's why we are the way we are. Maybe this is why Gen X is known to be the way it is because
It
of the
very well
crazy
could
shit we
be.
watched outside of not having parents around ever, which is why we
Right.
can watch these movies.
Well, I mean, it's like I tell my daughter, like, I used to be a kid. My parents would tell me I couldn't listen to certain music. I'd find a way.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't care what you listen to because you're going to go find a way. I don't
totally,
care.
right. Yeah, exactly.
Same thing with movies. Like if my parents said, "Oh no, you can't watch this." Guess what? I found a way to watch it and I
Yeah.
saw the boobies.
Right, lots of them. Well, the funny part about outside of that scene, because that scene was weird, that was probably the most shocking part of the whole movie because he was, like, maybe 11, 12,
Yeah, yeah, I put 'em around 11 or 12.
right, and her boobs are, like and again, she had a bra on, but I could see her nipples and everything through
Oh
it,
yeah, you can still
and
see through it.
yeah, and the kid was, like, talking about her boobs, and I was like, "What the hell?"
Oh
That
yeah,
was
if you keep it's something like if you keep growing up, your boobs are gonna keep getting bigger or something like that. I'm
yeah,
like,
some kind of comment about her
"Wha-
boobs getting so big.
what?
But it was funny because when she got home, she starts to change to put on her costume, which she's dressing as Alice in Wonderland, and she has this big, heavy, long sweater on. She pulls her pants off and she pulls her underwear off, which I don't know why, but she pulled her underwear off. Well, I do know why. And but the sweater was below her butt. So she
Right.
turns around and she pulls up the sweater and then it falls a little bit, so she pulls it up again. Like, why do you need to do that when you're in your bedroom alone? Like, why are you doing that? You're only doing that because the director is like, "Pull up your sweater. We need to see ass. Pull up your sweater. It fell down.
Right.
Pull it up again." Because if you're in your room alone, what are you doing that for? Like, nothing. There's nothing there to do that for, unless you want your little brother in the closet to see it.
Some of the movies I've seen, I mean, girls do weird things in their bedrooms by themselves, and in locker rooms. I mean,
Right. Yeah, we had that
I
discussion.
mean, you guys do all this weird stuff in locker rooms according to the movies.
Right.
You guys have parties in there and shit, you know?
Yeah, right, right. Yeah, all the time. And then, of course, that leads to when Angela, who's having the party at the Hull House, and she's this gothic, kind of weird girl in school. She's having the party. Her and her friend Suzanne are at a convenience store. When it first opens on them, it's Suzanne bent over. And at first, I thought it was Judy, the girl that we just saw.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, because they do look a lot alike. I confused them a couple times.
well, I don't think they physically looked alike, but from behind, from the ass side, they did.
When you
The
wake up, they look alike.
Because when we last saw Judy, when she finally put her stuff on, she put that tool, like the fluffy stuff that goes underneath your dress,
Oh,
makes it
yeah.
stick out, whatever,
Yeah.
and she'd put that on. So when you see Suzanne at the convenience store and she's bent way over to show her ass so that the 2 guys at the counter are just watching her butt, all you see is that fluffy stuff that's under her dress, and so I thought,
Right.
"Oh, it's her." I was like, "Why is she bent?" I was like, "Really? They're gonna be this obvious about it?" It's like,
Right,
God.
and to make note, the 2 cashiers, they're the quintessential nerdy looking guys of the
Oh, yeah.
'80s.
Yeah. Oily,
Yep.
really greasy.
Glasses.
Yeah. Anyway, so while she was keeping their attention, her friend was stealing stuff and putting in her huge bag, and she walked right out in front of them carrying this huge bag of stuff. Another person that I wanna talk about is Stooge.
Oh, yeah, Stooge. I don't understand the whole thing in the '80s where you have this greasy, really awful, like, fat guy and who's, like, relatively abusive, and he's always got, like, this really, like, sweet, innocent, hot girl,
Right.
or, like, at least, like, she's very cute and shit, like,
Yeah.
that gave me some false advertising growing up.
And he wasn't relatively abusive. He was straight up abusive. I mean, and it's funny because at the beginning of this movie, Judy is at home waiting for her boyfriend Jay to her or her date. I don't know if he was necessarily her boyfriend or not. I couldn't really tell, but she was waiting for him to show up to pick her up to take her to this dance. They're supposed to go to I guess a high school dance maybe, and he's on the phone with her. And he's convincing her that he wants to go to this party and she doesn't want to go. And he's like, "Oh, come on, let's just go. And I know how much you
Yeah.
hate that because you think they're assholes." But
Right.
Stooge was an absolute asshole.
Oh,
Absolute asshole.
100%.
He was so shitty to that girl. He called her bitch. He called her names. He yelled and screamed at her constantly. She wasn't doing anything. And he was constantly yelling at her. Like, I was like, Dan must really hate this guy. I was like,
Oh, I did. I mean, he was a piece of shit all the way around.
yeah, he was a total dick.
I mean, if that's what the producers and the director were going for, they did a fantastic job at making him look like an asshole,
Oh, yeah.
like complete and total.
Absolutely. And yeah, he is the quintessential '80s. I picture him being, he's on the football team, so that's the only reason why he's cool and why
Right.
people wanna hang out with him. He's a big guy, and he had the crazy kinda his sides were shaved and had, like, stripes, and he had, like, the mohawk like, not a mohawk, what's the business in the front, party in the
The
back?
mullet.
The mullet. So he had that going too, but he had that every '80s movie had that guy in
It
it
was
somewhere.
it was very Joe Exotic.
Yeah, yeah, only bigger, like, he had a Big Mac or 2. Right.
Right. And no mustache. I also have to comment that I don't know what it is between the '80s and I would say the last, I don't know, 20 or so years. These girls and these guys, by any stretch, they're supposed to be in their teens,
Yeah,
right? They're supposed to be 16, 17, maybe even 18 years old.
right.
They look like they're 28.
Yeah, they all do.
Whereas girls today and a lot of guys today, they look like they're 12, but they're 28.
Right. So do you have anything else you'd like to add about the first part of this movie?
The first part of the movie, no, just that the girls were obnoxious in the store, overly sexualizing themselves, and it was just a little over the top.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so now on to part 2. Hell breaks loose. So the mirror seance unleashes pure evil and things unravel fast. Helen and Roger try to leave, but they hit the invisible "you're stuck here" wall that surrounds the property. Inside, Suzanne fully crosses over to demon territory and pulls off the most famous scene in the movie, the lipstick trick. Meanwhile, Jay proves he's a slime ball by ditching Judy to hook up with Suzanne. Bad idea, buddy. Angela is next to fall, her possession marked by a dance sequence that goes on forever. It's part flash dance, what a feeling, part satanic, and 100% way too long. Stooge, predictably, becomes her next victim, lured in by her new demonic confidence before joining her on Team Evil. Max and Franny decide the best place to hook up is inside a coffin, which is how you know this group's collective IQ is somewhere around room temperature. The mood shifts from horny to horrifying as one by one, everyone gets picked off or possessed. So I want to talk about Angela's dance.
All right.
I don't know if you were able to stay awake during that dance.
I had to go back a couple times.
That dance, like the credits, took forever. I'm like, why do we need for her to dance this long? There's a character in this movie also. His name is Sal, who is the quote unquote bad guy, kind of. He's comes off as the shitty prick who wants to date Judy, the good girl who's there with Jay. And he goes to this party uninvited.
Yeah, he ended up going up to Judy's house and pressuring her younger brother to tell him where the party is and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And the brother ends up caving and tells him where it is. And he's just like a slime ball. I mean,
Yeah,
he's not
he's
as much of an asshole as the other guy, but he's still pretty slimy.
yeah, he comes off as he's kind of got that he doesn't really have slicked back hair, but he has that kind of look, where he's like one of the greasers from The Outsiders or something. He's there and he's watching Angela dance. And he's watching and watching. And I'm like, dude, how are you not leaving? This is the most boring thing I've ever seen. 'Cause she's just dancing by herself. And of course, she's pulling up her dress really high unnecessarily so we can see her underwear with the garter belt and all that stuff and see her
Right.
ass. So we have that. I guess that's the whole reason for this scene. Because
Well,
that's
remember, he's a 35-year-old, 16-year-old.
right. And I've seen that guy in a million things too.
So, I mean, he's there, even though the dance is taking forever because, he might get a glimpse of something that 35, 16-year-old guys go for.
Right? Although he didn't seem that thrilled by it. He seemed appalled.
Uh, that's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
And then, of course, there's the lipstick scene. Now, this is the infamous lipstick scene, and I guess what this movie is known
Okay.
for. Have you
Okay,
seen this movie
so
before this?
no, I can't
Okay.
say that I have.
I hadn't
I
either.
can honestly say that I've had to watch this movie a couple times because I kept on falling asleep on it.
Right.
Not because it was boring, but that didn't help.
Right.
So I fell asleep like just before the dancing scene. It was like probably like 25 minutes into the movie,
Right.
and I end up waking up to this girl sticking her lipstick into her boob, and I'm just like, "What the hell's going on? What did I miss? Why is this happening?" because I mean, I woke up to her shoving lipstick into her boob. I'm like, I need to go back and find out what's going on because this is weird.
So, so this is Suzanne, and Suzanne is the one that was bent over at the convenience store. She's very obsessed with how she looks, and because Angela makes a point when they leave the convenience store to comment on Suzanne looking at herself in her mirrored compact. So she makes a comment about how she's constantly having to see how she looks and this and that or whatever. I just want to make a note too that Suzanne, even though apparently she's very worried about how she looks, it's gonna be awful to say, she should be.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, she's not looking very good right now.
So the lipstick scene. So this is what happened in lipstick scene. She's in the bathroom. She's been possessed. She was the first one to get possessed. She runs in the bathroom and she takes her lipstick out. We see that she's already drawn around her mouth, really wide outside her mouth, and then up her face. It almost looked like clown makeup, the way she had it around her eyes and up in her, on her face like that. But then it was like, what else can I do with this lipstick? I don't know what else to do with it. I need to do something. So she starts taking it down her chest and goes under her breast, around the breast, and back down towards the nipple. Then all of a sudden, even though you don't see the hole, it creates a hole. And she
Right.
pushes the lipstick into her nipple. And I was like, why?
Yeah.
What's this
And
for?
and if you I mean, and there's no blood trickling out, it's just her inserting the lipstick
Yeah.
underneath her areola.
Yeah.
You could tell by looking at it very closely that it was obviously a markup of her body,
Yeah.
and you could tell, like, the hand was not part of that body because the way it was angled and pushing the thing through, you could tell it wasn't, like, her hand. I don't know if, like, other people would notice that, but just the way the whole thing was set up, like, you could just tell, like, the poor way that it was, filmed.
Yeah, you could definitely tell it was a prosthetic, and it was
Yeah, that's
weird
what I was looking for.
looking. Yeah, it definitely had a weird look to it. Then, while she's in there doing this, Jay, who's supposed to be the date or the boyfriend of Judy, comes in, and he doesn't see her put the lipstick in her breast, but, of course, he can see all the lipstick all over her face and stuff. Doesn't seem appalled by it at all or think that it's weird. Like, he doesn't even act like it's weird that she's doing that she's got this lipstick all over her face and all over her body.
Right.
All he knows is, "This girl's gonna suck my dick." He's totally okay with it. He wanted to go off with Judy somewhere alone, but she was like, "No, just hold me," and he was like, "Ugh."
Yeah, she's like the prudish, like,
Yeah.
"Oh, yeah, this is the perfect time for us to bang."
Yeah.
"No, I just want you to hold me." And then they're, like, making out in the basement,
Yeah.
like, on the floor, and then all of a sudden, like, it all stops, and now he's with,
He's
this
with
one.
Suzanne, yeah. Because, of course, classic '80s slasher horror, you only live if you're a virgin.
Right,
So
right.
somebody had to stay a virgin.
Susan at some point during the scene stands up and lifts up her dress, and she's got no underwear on, so,
Right.
you see everything, kapow, it's right
Yeah.
there.
Right. Yep.
And it was just so random and useless that,
Yeah.
what was the reason? I mean, I
'Cause
don't know. When I watch porn, I wanna watch porn. When I wanna watch a regular movie, I wanna watch a regular movie. I don't like the 2 mixed together.
these lines should not cross. Yeah.
Porn should keep the acting out, and
Yeah.
regular movies should keep the bush away.
Right. But eventually, Jay lays down. She straddles him while they're fucking. She then digs her thumbs into his eyeballs and kills him. So, good job, Jay.
Well, before that, as she's riding him, she's, "Don't look at my face!
Oh, yeah.
Don't look at my face!" And he's like, "What? Huh? Do I look pretty? Do I look pretty to you?" And he's just like, "Oh, what? Huh?" And then all of a sudden, like, she's got, like, a demonic face.
Yeah, yeah.
And then,
Shiver
like,
no pepper.
she puts her fingers into his eyes, and,
Right. Yeah.
then he's not happy anymore.
Yeah. He did not care about her face at all. He just
No.
like, I just want to get laid.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
he's
just
like,
close your eyes.
yeah, I don't need to see your face.
We do have to go back a little bit. Angela, the goth girl, because I think we kind of forgot a little bit. Like when they're sitting in front of the mirror and it turns black, someone makes a comment and the black goes away, and she's like, "Oh my God, you ruined it."
Yeah.
And then, like, all of a sudden, the mirror falls down as if someone is holding it so it doesn't fall down and break.
Right. Well,
Because it had like this really like
yeah.
slow-mo sort of
Yes.
fall. but it wasn't in slow motion. It was just like someone's like just gently pushing it down.
Right.
And then we hear the mirror shattering noises, quote unquote. And they had this really stupid shot that also went on for way too long
Oh,
of the
yeah.
shattered mirror where everybody's standing over their mirror and everybody has their own little spot in the
Right.
broken mirror sections.
Right. So the funny part about the mirror scene is that, yes, it didn't just boom fall over. It fell over very slowly, like it obviously was on a string or something so that it wouldn't crash and break
Yeah,
for
because I mean, they
real.
probably couldn't budget it.
And I also thought it was funny that when they lifted it up, the pieces of the mirror were face up. They should have
Right.
been face down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah, that's
then
true.
yeah, and then, of course, you had that all the broken pieces, you can see the faces of everybody in a piece of the mirror, which was ridiculous.
Right.
I'm gonna assume
Uh,
this movie is a cult classic because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I would say so. The slime ball, his name's Stooge, right?
Yeah.
Because I didn't pay attention enough to know their names. Stooge. And
Uh-huh.
he goes complete ballistic asshole on his girlfriend for the mirror falling over. It's like,
Right.
look it's her fault. Why did you do that? Oh my god, you're such a stupid bitch. She's just sitting there. Just like everybody else. She was just sitting there. And she's sitting like, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to. What did you do? You just sat there.
Right. Yeah, that poor girl, she definitely needed a new boyfriend. I don't know how she got with this guy, no clue, 'cause she was of all of them, she was probably the cutest.
She was.
So it was like, "How did you end up with this guy?"
And she's the only one that actually looked somewhat like a teenager.
Right. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Like an older teenager, but a teenager nonetheless.
Right, yes. Yeah.
And she probably could have passed as 19.
Yeah, totally. So then, of course, we have the coffin hookup. So there's this other couple, Max and Franny, and they were there. They were just extras, basically,
Right.
just have extra people there. They had some lines and stuff or whatever. Of course, they had their own scene, which was in the casket. They decide that they wanted to try and get an award for the most creative place to die, I guess. So they're like, let's fuck in this haunted mortuary inside a casket. So they, of course, hop in and they start going to town. Well, that doesn't last too long because, of course, one, they're having sex, and everybody knows in the 80s, if you're having sex, you're definitely going to die. And I can't remember exactly who killed them. Was it Angela?
No, it was Stooge.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Because I forget at one point Stooge dies.
Yeah, because Angela kissed Stooge, which caused
Right.
the
Right.
part.
He got
I guess
this.
this demon could split up into parts. So
Yeah.
part of the demon went into Stooge and he became possessed.
Right. So he got herpes.
Right.
And I believe that's how Susan got it, or Angela got it too, is because Susan kissed
Yes.
um
Susan kissed Angela.
Susan yeah, kissed Angela, and I think it was Stooge was like, "Hey, I want to go see this too," because they went to the bedroom
Right.
together, and
Yeah.
Stooge was being like all like, "Oh, I want to see this
I just realized this movie's a PSA for
STDs."
STDs. Or is there anything else in this part of the movie want to talk about?
We did the bush.
Yeah.
We did the Stooge, yelling at his girlfriend. No, we're good.
All right. So we're on to part 3, Demons at Dawn. So the chaos peaks as the survivors dwindle. Judy steps into full-on final girl mode, swinging weapons, lighting fires, and refusing to die. Sal actually redeems himself, showing up just in time to save her, but his moment of decency is short-lived when Angela tosses him off the roof, impaling him below. Judy and Roger, in case anybody forgot about Roger, Roger's still here, and he's a black guy.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
Yeah.
and to be clear, Roger has been there since the beginning.
Right. Judy and Roger take refuge in the crematorium where Judy turns the gas on and torches Angela and Stooge. It slows them down, but doesn't finish them off. The demons close in, forcing Judy and Roger to make one last desperate move, escape over the property wall. They scale the barbed wire, cutting themselves as the demons claw from below, but when the two of them drop to the other side and cross that narrow stream that runs under the wall, everything stops. The demons can't cross that barrier. It's like an invisible force field keeping the evil bound inside Hull House. So they're laying there on the ground. You can see all this smoke. And then you see that weird demon face. There's like this weird demon face that they show at the beginning when the demon first shows up. He's in the mirror.
Yeah,
But
it was in the mirror.
it shows up again and then it dissipates and then everything's fine. So then Roger and Judy, they leave. They head home. It's daylight and they're walking down the street. And we see the old man from the beginning who was yelling at Stooge and saying that they're going to get what they deserve. So the final punchline of the movie is that bitter old man from the opening scene sits down for breakfast eating his wife's homemade apple pie, baked with the razor blade apples he prepped for trick-or-treaters. Cue bloody karma. So, quickly talk about Sal's death. So Sal, he's made out to be the bad guy, but technically he becomes kind of heroic a little bit. So Angela and Judy were in a room upstairs, and Sal came in and saved Judy from Angela. They were like in a regular sized room, and they were close to a door on the door side of the room, and all the way across the room were some windows. Angela backhands Sal, and he literally goes flying across the room and out the window. Now he doesn't die here. He dies
No.
later on the roof when he gets into another fight with Angela. But this scene, I thought, my God. I mean, I guess demons are strong, apparently. I mean, from what
I
I've
mean,
been told, but she literally just a little slap in the face and he went flying all the way across the room and out the window. It looked very weird the way it was in terms of just how far he had to go for that to work. But yeah, then he does end up on the roof with Angela. She ends up pushing him off and he falls onto some stake or some metal pipe or something that's sticking out of the ground. And then there's like already a headstone for him that
right.
says Sal Romero and his birth date, and then like it said died just now or something like that.
Yeah, died today or
Right.
tonight.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that his last name is supposed to be an homage to
Yeah.
George A. Romero.
That's what I thought too. When I saw it, I was like, oh, Romero. Okay.
That's my deductive reasoning.
Right. So Judy, also by the end of the movie, she's going through her final girl evolution because in the beginning of the movie, she was all meek and mild and naive and prim and proper. But of course, by the end, because she starts off in that way as they always do, and then she ends up being this. They're in at one point. She and Roger are stuck down in the crematorium.
Right.
She finds a door and opens it, and it's an oven. She's like, "Oh, this is an oven," and freaks
Yeah,
out a little
and
bit.
she pulls out a skull.
Yeah. Then we hear the bad guys all banging on the door. They're banging on the door, and so she's, like, freaking out. She says, "Well, I'm gonna have to grab a pipe to use as a weapon." So when she grabs the pipe off the wall, off the inside of the oven, you can hear the gas, and the gas is coming
Right.
out this pipe. She is sitting there trying to light she has a lighter, trying to light the gas that's coming out. I'm thinking, once she finally gets this thing lit, the whole room is gonna blow up because it was blowing out gas like crazy
Well,
for the longest time.
that's how you check for gas leaks.
Yes.
You know, you smell gas, you just start throwing matches at it.
And Roger, he's no help at all in this scene. He is hiding in a corner, balled up in the fetal position, freaked out, and
Oh yeah,
she's
Rogers just like absolutely useless. Her whole badass like transformation
right,
is using this pipe that, you know, is supposed to be a flamethrower and it's barely shooting out fire.
right.
It's not focused by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
And she's just like kind of flopping it around very lightly, like, oh my god, I'm gonna get him. And you know, she ends up getting Angela and Stooge, and like they're just spinning around like on fire,
Yeah.
and she's just like, oh my god, help me turn this off. You need to find a valve. And Roger's just like sitting there and he's like looking around, and like the valve is like literally right next to him, and he's just like looking around like, where is it? And
Yeah.
then he finally gets to it, which is literally like a foot away from him, and he gets
Right.
there and he grabs the top of it. It's like, here we go, let's turn it off. You know, it's like, you know, let's get this thing off.
It took him so long to turn it. I'm like, "What are you doing? Just turn the fucking valve." And I don't know if we were supposed to believe that because it's an old rusty valve maybe, that it's hard to turn, but his arm was just kinda casually leaning up against the wall while he was
Right.
trying to turn it, like, he wasn't putting any effort into it at all, and I was like, "Oh my god, people." And the other part, we're supposed to believe that the pipe that she pulled off the inside of the oven is just gonna come all the way out and stay connected to the gas line. It wasn't like it
Right.
was a
And
hose.
well, and that's the thing too, is this brings up another plot hole. This is supposed to be an abandoned
Right.
crematorium.
Yeah.
Why do they still have gas going to
Right.
it?
That's the other thing. I was like, "How do they even have gas?" Like,
I
what?
mean, I understand it was in a time when they would have to go and manually shut things off. So, I mean, they could have forgotten to do it, I guess.
Well,
But
obviously, because that's what's his name had Roger had to do, to turn it off. But you'd think that they'd have it turned off at the house altogether, but yeah. So, yeah, that whole gas flamethrower thing was ridiculous. But she did set them on fire, and they did get away from them.
yeah. And so when they get to the wall that was not there in the beginning,
Right.
because the gate was there,
Yeah.
um, they're like Roger's climbing up the wall and he's got barbed wire. He's climbing up the barbed wire. And, I mean, I'm sure climbing up barbed wire sucks, but he was doing it the correct way. He had his hand in between the barbs, but yet he's still bleeding like a pig, like
Right,
a
and
stuck
the
pig.
and the way the barbed wire was attached to this wall, like, why was it attached to the wall the way it was? Why wasn't it,
Right.
like, just across the top? It was literally, like,
Hanging
specifically
down.
put in points that they had to, I guess, to help them crawl up it. I don't know.
Right.
It was
And
weird how it was set up.
And so he gets on the top and he's laying down with his hand down, like down to Judy. And there's a good like 3 or 4 foot gap between their hands. So
Oh, yeah.
Judy ends up climbing up the thing. And then Stooge, his zombie demon
Right.
persona, comes bursting out. He's all burnt up. And we have a very, very random, unneeded, unnecessary slow motion shot of him running through the thing, and it was only like 2 seconds. That's why it was, like, useless. It was 2-second slow motion run
Well, she
for
needed
no
time
reason.
because the house was pretty close to this wall.
Right,
Yeah, so, it's like, do you do a slow-mo of 2 steps?
right. So, finally, Judy gets up to Roger's hand, Stooge ends up grabbing her leg, and it starts to burn her, and she's, like, all upset about this, and
Right,
and this makes Roger, like, fall over the wall.
right.
He just kinda, like, plops down.
Yeah,
And I do have to go back for a second where Angela was trying to get Judy, when she was hanging off the side of the roof and, Sal
uh-huh,
fell and stuff. When she's going over, the way she falls, it's on
uh-huh,
her back.
right,
And Roger is like set way far back, but when she falls, she hits Roger
yeah,
and she falls like head first into Roger, not on her back. Like, whoever the person is in this movie who was supposed to check the continuity
right.
did not do a very good job. Okay, so now going back to Roger, he did like this again stupid fall because he like almost like rolled over the wall,
Yes, it
and
was so
he would have landed on his side the way he
yeah,
fell, but he landed like on his back facing a totally different direction.
yeah, he's holding on to her hand, holding her hand, and all of the demons are now there, and they're all pulling on her. So she's still holding on to the barbed wire, but with one hand and his hand with the other, and he can't pull her up because 'cause they're pulling on her. And I really thought they were gonna pull her dress off so we could see her naked ass again.
Yeah, that's what it looked like to me
Yeah.
too, and I thought that that's where it was headed.
But it didn't happen. So then he loses his grip and yeah, he just like rolls over, which is weird looking. And you'd think, yeah, he'd just land right there at the bottom of the wall on his side. But no, he's like turned around facing another way. It was weird, but he can just hear her screaming and screaming and screaming, help, help, help. She's almost pulled down by everybody. And next thing you know, you see Roger's hand again, and he's back up on top exactly the way he was before. He grabs her hand, and this time he's able to pull her up. But then they both fall over, and they fall over again in a really weird way. It didn't make
Mm.
any sense
Yeah,
whatsoever.
not in the way that they fell off the wall, and that's why I wanna go back to the roof scene because it was pretty much the same thing, like,
Yeah,
they fell a certain way on one scene, and they landed in a totally different way, unnatural in the other way.
right. Like, the way if he were pulling her up on that huge brick wall, she would have still had to pull herself, and it would've been, like, right at the end, like, they'd be, trying to get over, but it was almost like he full swung her around.
Right, that's true, it looked like a very violent throw too.
It was like he suddenly got this burst of energy that he never had before in his life. He couldn't even turn a damn valve, but now he's one arm pulling and swinging her around off over this brick wall, and then they both go tumbling over. I was like, that looks so stupid. What the fuck? Who? What's the word for it? Shit. What's the word for when you are marking where you go? I should know this. I did enough theater. I should know. But choreographed.
Oh, yeah,
Choreographed this shit.
choreographed. Yeah.
Probably the same guy who was supposed to make sure continuity was right, I'm gonna guess. So, but yeah, so they're over there, and the only reason why these demons couldn't get across is because there's a stream of water that's going around the property underneath this brick wall. because Judy at one point makes a comment, "Oh, if we just wait until the sun comes up, they'll go away." But apparently, no, it has nothing to do with sunlight. It's all about plumbing.
Right. Well, yeah, and it also has to deal with the idea that it's Halloween night because on
Right.
Halloween they can't go to hell.
Right. That's what she was saying about this. She's like, once the sun comes up, they can go back to hell. But
Right.
that never ended up being part of the thing that got rid of them because it was still dark when
Right.
they
They
dissipated. It was because they couldn't get over the stream.
right, and they got over the wall,
Yeah.
so,
I
like
guess they had no reason to be there anymore if they had gotten over the wall.
right. So, I mean, it's just, "Alright, let's just give up."
Yeah, demon rules are weird.
Right.
So and then, of course, at the end, and we didn't mention this in the beginning, but the old man, when he said, the kids will get what's coming to them, you see him with an apple because he just got back from the store, an apple and a thing of razor blades. So his
Yeah.
plan was to put razor blades in the apples because that was a big deal. You want to talk about things we thought we were going to die from when we were kids. One was being on fire, stop, drop, and roll. The other
Yep.
was quicksand. And the
Quicksand.
other was razor blades inside apples or your candy in general, or
Yep.
staples in your candy during Halloween in the '80s.
Yep,
That's
I don't remember the staples, but I do remember the poison candy.
yeah,
I remember razor blade and the
um,
apples, which
right.
the only reason why that became a thing was because of Halloween 2, because
Well,
there
the
was a
thing
scene of that happening, and there's from what I understand, there's no documented evidence of that ever happening, and
oh, right.
honestly, you have to be a complete moron to bite into an apple that has a slit in it,
Yeah, you can't see
because the
that
razor
shit.
blade itself,
They're
you
big.
might not see, but they're pretty big. I mean, it's
Yeah,
not like it's razor thin,
it's like yeah,
not to give people ideas, but you have a better luck with like a thin syringe needle than you
right.
do, a razor blade,
Yeah.
you
Yeah, or
know?
straightening out a staple. So that was the other
Right,
thing that I'd always heard was, like, they're gonna take staples because 'cause they're thin and tiny, and you can straighten it out and then stuff it in there. Because a razor blade it's ridiculously huge to hide in an apple and not know that that's there.
right,
But that thing that I don't know if it was ever before the '80s, but, of course, we grew up in the '80s, so that's all we would know. But
right.
that still carries on today because, like, what, a couple years ago, drug gangs were gonna start putting
Yeah,
fentanyl
crystal
in kids' candy.
crystal meth and fentanyl. It's like,
It's
I'm
like,
sorry, but I don't know any drug dealer that's just gonna give that much shit away for free.
absolutely not.
Not that I know many drug dealers, because I really don't, but I mean, I have come across a few, and I can guarantee you they're not gonna wrap it up in candy and be like, "Hey, little kid, here you
Yeah,
go."
even though they're drug dealers, they're still businessmen. Like
Right, I mean, they need to make profit,
right.
regardless of what's going on, they need to make profit, so they're not gonna give their shit away for free. Maybe to the crackhead that's coming up to them, be like, "Hey, you wanna try this shit?" To give you one hit. Oh, guess what? Your next one's like $50,
Right, right.
you
Yeah,
know?
my mom, oh my god, that Christmas that it was about fentanyl craze and the Halloween candy, she was like, "Watch out for Weston's candy because 'cause they're putting fentanyl in the candy." I was like, "Mom, really? You think drug dealers are gonna waste their product on giving fentanyl to kids for free? Why? Why would they do that? That doesn't make any sense. Think about what you're saying. Turn off the news." But anyway, the razor blade. So the guy, his wife the next morning makes him an apple pie with all the apples that he put razor blades in. And at first I was like, how could she cut into these apples and not know there were razor blades in there? But then it looks like she didn't care that there were razor blades in there. She was very
Right.
happy that he died and he had a gruesome little death. Like
Yeah,
and I don't know how he didn't feel them in his mouth when he was chewing the pie, but they got into his throat and cut through his throat. So,
or chew them at all.
right. Just
You know, because I mean, the guy was definitely portrayed as like he's just a miserable prick. He was just a miserable old man that
right.
just didn't like kids. And I mean, they didn't really go into the relationship between the two. Like you don't know what was going on. She was just like, "Oh, yeah, I made a pie like when you were sleeping and yada yada,"
Mm,
as if he couldn't smell the pie if that was the
right.
case.
Yeah. Hell, I didn't even know he had a wife until that scene.
Right, well, neither did I,
Yeah.
but, like, when they're talking about it, it's like, "Oh, when did you have time to bake a pie?" "Oh, really, bitch? Like, you couldn't smell the apple pie?" Like, I'm
Yeah.
not big on, like, cold apple pie, but you got warm apple pie, I'm
Oh,
smelling
yeah.
that shit, I'm coming down, I'm getting the
Yeah.
ice cream,
Yep.
like you know,
That'll wake me up from my sleep paralysis
exactly,
for sure.
but he's like, "Oh, I'm really surprised that you made this pie, and when did
Yeah.
you have time to do it?" And she's like, "Oh, yeah, I used the apples." "The apples?" And all of a sudden, his neck starts shredding from the inside. It's like, what the hell's going on? Like, I mean, I
Although
can if a razor went into your throat, you would not have external injuries. It would
yeah.
just, like, go down and slice your esophagus.
Yeah, it's not like they're trying to escape. Throat, "Let me out of here," and they just come through your
Right.
neck.
You know, and, blood would probably definitely come out of your mouth, but it wouldn't
Yeah,
go through your throat and
right.
shred it up like a Freddy Krueger glove.
Right, yeah. But I am glad though that they put that in there because it was a satisfying ending for the movie.
Right,
Because that guy
right.
was a dick. Because otherwise, if they had just left it the way they had, it would just been like, okay. Because you end up just seeing Roger and Judy walking down the sidewalk past the old man's house. And which is how the old man gets reintroduced again. That's it. They walk home, I guess. And that would have been the end of the movie. So, and it was somewhat gratifying because the guy was a dick. And just want to note, Roger made it through the whole movie. In the
He
80s,
did,
I think that's pretty fucking amazing.
considering that he was black, absolutely.
Yeah. I was like, "Whoa," because I thought for sure at the end, like, even if he got her over the wall, he was gonna fall back into the demons or something.
Oh,
Because there's
yeah,
no way a black guy is gonna survive an '80s horror movie.
right, I completely expected him to die.
Totally.
Like, I mean, granted, he didn't die right away, which I'm just like, "Oh, what's going on here?" And then, like, the next death and the next death, he's a final guy,
Yeah.
okay. Like,
But
he's surely gonna die now,
yeah,
but he lives.
he also was not a major focal point of the movie until the end, really.
Right,
Like, you saw him here and there with other people, but he really didn't have a main focus until near the end when
right, because he
he
was instrumental in turning off that fire
absolutely.
the fire,
And getting
thing.
her over the wall. I mean,
Right, right.
that strong armor over there, so
Oh,
alright,
yeah, I
well,
mean, like, when he threw her over, yeah,
yeah,
because I was gonna say, I mean, like, for a final guy, he really wasn't on the masculine side of things,
no, yeah, he was
you
terrifying.
know? He was more like the nerdy guys from the beginning in the convenience store,
Yeah, he
but
was pretty wimpy.
when push came to shove, man, he threw her over that wall, man.
Yeah, He-Man that shit. So, if anybody is aware who He-Man is from the '80s, so
Well, I mean, he's made a resurgence. There's
yeah,
toys out there, and they're making a cartoon, so there's a resurgence of He-Man.
right, right.
If they don't know now, they'll know eventually, like, here in the near future.
So, what are your overall unless you have something else to say about this last
Oh,
movie?
no, I
Yeah.
have nothing else to say about this movie.
So, do you have what are your thoughts, and how many cents would you give this movie?
I thought this movie was absolutely terrible.
Right.
On every level. The only thing that made it any interest to me as far as a horror movie was the end scene when the guy gets the razor blades. Even though I'm criticizing how razor
Yeah,
blades would actually do damage, it was still the best scene in the entire movie.
right.
Although it didn't really make sense to the movie, considering the whole thing was supposed to be about demons,
Right.
and all of a sudden, like, we just have like a random like murder. But it was still the best part of the movie. I would rather see a movie based on that guy
Yeah.
than go through this. And I am actually going to give this my first 0 cents.
Wow.
The music was awful, the
Yeah,
acting was terrible, the special effects were god awful. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like practical effects, but these were done horribly. There was nothing redeeming about this movie. At least Fever Lake we can go back and joke about and have some mild entertainment out of this. I would never watch this movie again.
right.
And if someone made me, I would. I can't say it because we'll have to edit it out.
I would be interested to see how the remake is compared to this movie.
I am somewhat interested. I'm hoping that whatever the remake is, it's better. I mean, I
Yeah,
will I will give it a shot. I don't know why. I think I just
right.
hate myself that much. Um, but I will give the remake a try.
Right,
It can't be any worse than this.
right. We might have to do a month where because there's been a few of these movies that have had remakes where we just go and do the remakes and talk about them and compare them to
Yeah,
how we like compared to the
that
other one.
could be one of the months, like
Yeah.
remake month or whatever.
Right. So 0 cents. Wow. Okay. So this movie, so the music, when you talk about the music, that the music for this movie was specifically written for this movie and it had that very '80s sound to it that was trying to be like a maybe an 80s hair band sound to some, but ballads, like
Right.
the hair metal ballad kind of feel to it. But yeah, the music was terrible. Acting was awful. I mean, I'm trying to think if there was anybody, like everything seemed overacted, except for actually the only one I think that did a decent job acting was the girl that was dating Stooge. She was only in it for like 5 minutes. I felt like the acting was like, especially Judy, like Judy just seemed like so put on. Like she was trying so hard to come off as this sweet, naive girl. It was just so over the top with it. But everybody was kind of over the top pretty much. It had that feel to it, especially once
Well,
she was
I would still go back and say that the old man also did a good job
Oh, yeah, yeah,
considering.
yeah. And actually, it was funny because talking about the end of the movie, I thought the way they were going with that, I thought that maybe they were like the keepers of the house and that there was gonna be some deep story where these 2 old people are, like maybe they were caretakers at at that mortuary, or they ran the mortuary at some point, or they were family of the mortuary people, and that they knew there were demons and that they, were hoping to feed the demons or something. I thought that's where they were going with that, because all of a sudden, because like I said, I didn't even know he had a wife until the final scene. It never
Right.
showed her at all. And so the way she was acting, the way she was talking, I thought, "Oh, okay, this is what's going on."
Yeah,
But
and I thought she was
then
gonna be a demon.
yeah, something like that connected to the movie, but it had nothing to do with the demons whatsoever, and I was like, it just seemed it could have been its own movie
Right.
because it had nothing to do with the demons at all. It was just like, "Let's get some revenge on this old man who's an asshole," right? I was really hopeful because it is a cult classic, and like I said before, it must be a cult classic because of how crazy bad it is. Because I feel like there's probably some cult classics out there that are so crazy bad that that's why they're cult classics.
Oh, absolutely.
'Cause it's just so much over the top and wacky just stuff and horrible choreography and horrible direction and horrible everything. I don't know so much if I would go with a 0, but I'm not gonna go much higher. I'll give it 1 cent just for the fact that it is a movie that I could probably tell people is so awful, like you were saying earlier, it's so bad, they'd watch it kinda thing.
Right.
So, I might give it 1 cent.
But then they would hate you at the end of it.
Why did you do this to me? We are not friends anymore.
In
Uh,
fact, I'm burning down your house.
yeah. You're having apple. So, do you have any other things you would like to say about this marvelously horrible movie?
Oh, we can put a sock on this one.
God, I wonder how many people are gonna give us shit in the comments when they find out we don't
Oh,
like this movie.
I am sure we're going to get lambasted.
All right, sock applied. That was Night of the Demons, a movie that proves if you hold a Halloween party in an abandoned funeral home, you deserve everything that happens to you. We got 3 minutes of cartoon credits, a demonic dance recital that refused to end, and a lipstick scene that should come with a warning label. But hey, at least the old man got his just desserts, literally. Next week, we're keeping the not just another Halloween movie theme rolling with
House of the Devil.
Where Can We See It?
To be.
To be. And trust me, this one proves that the scariest thing on Halloween isn't ghosts or demons, it's people who don't know when to stay home. Until then, be scared, be prepared, and don't get caught in the dark.